Yeah, so Django here. Before this review starts, I want to preface by letting you know there aren't going to be any spoilers in this review so that you can go out and experience the game for yourself right after if you do so please. And with that said, let's get into the review. A while back, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was on sale on Steam, and actually still is right now as the time of the recording. Now, time for a little backstory, but don't worry, it's not going to be too long. The first rated M game I ever got was the first Assassin's Creed on PlayStation 3 back in 2009. Soon after, I would delve into the sequels such as Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, but I eventually ended up stopping on Assassin's Creed 3 itself, as Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was the last Assassin's Creed that I found myself satisfied with. Now, admittedly, I never played Assassin's Creed Revelations, and it's probably something that I'm gonna get around to eventually. So I never got the closure for Ezio's story that I've been looking for the past 7, 8 years. Regardless, the point I'm trying to make is that I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since late 2012, early 2013, and that's also mainly because Desmond's story ended with Assassin's Creed 3, and at that point I was wondering what more can you make of these games. Sure, I've heard a lot of good things about Black Flag, but I've never personally played the game just out of spite, on top of the fact that I don't really like the pirate setting. Now, jump forward to January 2020. Still haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in 7 to 8 years, and heard about the absolute travesty of games that games like Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Assassin's Creed Unity turned out to be. You've probably heard that story a million times, so you don't need me to retell it. Even Odyssey had its own fair share of controversy surrounding the game's leveling system and how players were creating custom levels where you could level up without having to do anything, and then Ubisoft banned it, and there was a whole problem surrounding that. I'll go ahead and provide a clip from from his video talking about the topic.
XP boosters particularly proved to be contentious due to the fact that Assassin's Creed Odyssey's main campaign was level gated, meaning that during certain checkpoints you had to be a certain level to further progress.
Now, despite all this information lingering in the back of my head, I decided to buy Assassin's Creed Odyssey anyways. Like previously mentioned, when I bought Odyssey, it was on sale for $34.99. Specifically, I bought the gold edition, which came with the following. Now, off the bat, that's a killer fucking deal. It comes with the season pass, which comes with all the game's DLCs that they've released. You get a bonus mission, which this kind of shit has always rubbed me the wrong way. And you get 3 whole games: Odyssey, Assassin's Creed 3, and Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. The other 2 game editions, Deluxe and Ultimate, not including the Standard Edition, come with random shit like an armor set, ship designs, in-game boosters. However, thankfully, the Gold Edition doesn't come with the boosters. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with the armor set either, but I can talk about why that's unfortunate later. Now, Assassin's Creed Odyssey takes place in ancient Greece, featuring 2 main protagonists that you actually get to choose from: Cassandra, a female, and Alexios, a male. And Cassandra's a great character. It doesn't feel like Ubisoft made a story about Alexios and then just swapped some of the voice lines in the player model so that Cassandra could fit into the narrative and they could fulfill some sort of political agenda. Now, I haven't played any of the stories of Alexios, so it's possible that it's the same exact way when you play as Alexios, but that's all that I can say. However, your choice of character does serve a purpose in terms of the story, but that's as much as I'll say on that as well. With regards to the story, it's strong, like it's really good. At the time of writing, I'm about 25 to 30 hours in, and I've only just completed episode 4 of the game. Like I said, I won't spoil any specific or general plot points of the story, but you do get to meet historical figures like Pericles and Herodotus and Socrates, albeit whether they play a minor passing role in the game or if they have a integral part to the story. And while it does have a really good story, it's just not an Assassin's Creed story by the original term. Yeah, there are still moments when characters are pulled out of the simulation and reminded of the fight against Abstergo, but it really doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, I haven't played Assassin's Creed in almost 7 to 8 years prior to playing Odyssey, so I had no idea what was going on in terms of the storyline in the present day regarding the fight against Abstergo, but was still able to enjoy, and I'm still enjoying because I'm still playing, Cassandra and Alexios' story. You could honestly play Odyssey and skip over all of the modern day segments and still have an extremely enjoyable experience. And the other great thing is too, you don't have to play any other Assassin's Creed games in order to enjoy Odyssey. Also, the gameplay is pretty good. Now, in the frame of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or Assassin's Creed 3, the combat system is pretty drastically different from what I was used to, at least. In games like Brotherhood and 3, you could essentially be invincible as long as you wisely use the counter button, especially in 3, when you were able to counter multiple targets and use that to your advantage in order to kill other people. Odyssey is different in that there is no counter button. For combat, you have a basic attack, a heavy attack, and a dodge/roll mechanic. But, unlike Brotherhood or 3, Odyssey has a tiered gear system, as well as enemies having levels so that you can't just wander around the map going wherever you want, killing whatever you want. This makes Odyssey feel more like an open world action RPG rather than the OG open world assassin simulator. But it still works because it feels so far off from what Assassin's Creed used to be. There's also a skill tree dependent on 3 different categories: Hunter, Warrior, and Assassin. Each skill tree has active and passive abilities that specifically pertain to that particular category. For example, one skill you can unlock later on in the Assassin tree allows for bodies to disappear upon successfully assassinating them, or there's a passive that'll increase the amount of damage you do percentage-wise when completing assassinations successfully. The gear and weapons are also categorized based on the 3 previous mentioned categories, while also being tiered, ranging anywhere from common all the way up to legendary. Different tiered weapons will have different amounts of traits, like a common, for example, having one passive being 8% warrior damage, while a legendary will have 4 different traits, such as 9% warrior damage with 10% extra damage to Athenian or Spartan soldiers. Now, on the main inventory menu at the bottom of the screen, you'll see 3 damage values labeled Hunter, Warrior, and Assassin. Depending on the gear you're wearing, you'll receive different damage values. You can do different builds, like a hybrid between all 3, and do an even amount of damage, in all types of scenarios, or you can completely commit to one category and say do an insane amount of assassination damage or do an insane amount of range damage with Hunter. Obviously, you sacrifice a couple of things by completely committing to one build. Like me, for example, I completely committed to an assassination type build on my run, and while I can do insane amounts of assassination damage, if I'm discovered, I now have to fight and do absolutely horrible damage because that's my warrior damage stat. There's also naval combat, as in you still have to travel from place to place if you're not able to reach it by foot or by a horse. And might I add, holy shit is it fun. Scattered throughout the world are basic resources you can use to upgrade your ship, ranging anywhere from the speed of your ship to how many javelins you want to be able to fire consecutively, how many arrows you want to be able to fire consecutively, do you want to set the arrows on fire, and all this other kind of stuff like your hull and everything. You can also customize the ship's cosmetics as well, ranging from what your crew will look like to the appearance of your ship to even the figurehead on the front of your ship. The naval combat mainly consists of fighting from a distance where you are firing javelins and arrows at each other, or you decide to try and ram the ship, and then either boarding the ship or just completely destroying it for basic resources. If you board the ship, you have a chance at getting better gear specifically, but if you just destroy the ship straight up without boarding, you only get basic resources. You're also able to assign lieutenants to your ship specifically that'll fight alongside you when you do go and board enemy ships. Your lieutenants can be super common or super rare, ranging anywhere from some random dude you knocked out in the middle of the street to a legendary mercenary who's been hunting you down for the last 2 days. Like I said, similar to the gear system, your lieutenants can be tiered based on a common to legendary scale. To find more crew members, all you have to do is pretty much knock out anyone on the map that isn't integral to the story, and it'll give you an option to recruit them. Another cool feature is the bounty system, which kind of serves as a wanted type system in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If you're out at sea and you're killing a bunch of Athenian or Spartan ships, said faction will hire mercenaries to go out and fight you up to a certain point. I'm not quite sure how many, but I'll go ahead and put something on the screen that'll show you the bar of what it looks like in the bottom right. Every mercenary you kill or recruit to your crew, which you can do, will drop a pretty decent item scaled accordingly to your level. There's also a tab in the inventory menu that'll let you see all the mercenaries that exist throughout the Odyssey world. You also get to watch yourself climb the ranks every time you level up and progress further and further in the story, which I feel like is pretty cool because you are a mercenary. Now, in terms of the leveling, I never felt like it was not on pace. There was never a moment when I felt like I was either underleveled or overleveled. Maybe Ubisoft patched the game since that controversy that I mentioned before, but there was never any point during my playthrough that I felt like I had to specifically grind 4 levels in order to keep up with the pace of the story. And even if you do ever get that feeling, there's so much to do in this game. This map is pretty big, and there's always side quests and side activities for you to do. Also, this game is fucking gorgeous. My computer has an i7 7700K and a 1070, and this is what the game looks like. However, it is still a pretty demanding game. For the first few hours that I played, my FPS was ranging anywhere from 50 to 80 because I was trying to play with an uncapped frame rate. And then I went into the settings, tinkered with it a little bit, capped my frame rate at 60, and I had a consistent, I guess you could say, console experience. My frame rate dips every now and then in highly populated areas, but it never drops below 55. Now, unfortunately, because it's such a demanding game, you're not going to be able to, multitask and have a YouTube video or a Twitch stream up on your second monitor. After playing for a few hours with a Twitch stream on my second monitor, my game was dipping anywhere from 40 to 50 frames in highly populated areas when they would usually be about 55 to 60. Also, my game kept having this really weird issue where whenever I would play and have Chrome or something open on my second monitor, the game would freeze during cutscenes, and I'd have to close the game and relaunch it through Task Manager in order to keep playing. But overall, there were actually surprisingly very little bugs in the game, given Ubisoft's history with leaving bugs in their games. But also, I'm playing Odyssey 2 years after release. The bugs were always super minor things like an NPC's pathing, being incorrect or messing up, but never anything game-breaking outside of the cutscene one, but that's more of a, PC spec issue. Also, the microtransactions don't seem too egregious, at least from what I experienced. Outside of the level boost and the money boost, the only other microtransactions in the game are cosmetics, which you can actually end up unlocking yourself in-game through a merchant that you have to earn very specific currency for, and it's actually Sargon. If anything, I was more tempted to buy the cosmetic microtransactions than the level boosts. And the microtransactions consist of armor sets, not horse armor sets, but horse skins, ship skins, figureheads. You can even buy specific lieutenant crewmates like Athena, Odysseus and all these, crazy mythological creatures and, beings in Greek mythology. Now, admittedly, I did buy 2 skins. I spent $10 on the $10 pack, and I also had 200 credits for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but that was there. But finally, and most importantly, the most integral part to the game, the sea shanties. Whether you're out traveling the seas from city to city or you're sitting idle in the dock of a city, your crew members can begin singing sea shanties, and they're absolutely amazing. I mean, just listen to this. And I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, there's a couple of other small things I could have talked about, like the armor engravings. And this doesn't even talk about the DLCs either. But I leave all that for you to discover. There's also some other features I just wasn't able to talk about because of spoilers for the story. However, real quick, one quality of life tip. When you're out and about exploring the map, make sure to hit as many synchronization points as you can use it to fast travel. And when you're trying to get somewhere and don't have the synchronization point in that town that you've already been to, it's pretty aggravating. Also, you're going to want to walk and sail everywhere for a time, and then after a certain time, it'll be pretty repetitive and you're just going to want to quick travel everywhere after that point. And that's pretty much everything. Assassin's Creed is well worth every dollar. I would even say that a $60 price tag is well justified. But if you ever get the chance to catch this game on sale, I would highly recommend you do it because it is on sale pretty frequently. And if you can, try and buy the gold or the ultimate edition so that you get everything that I was talking about earlier. So what do I give the game? Nothing. You thought I was going to give it a rating, and I'm not. No, instead, I'm going to highly recommend you play this game. Let me know what you guys thought of this review, if you went out and bought the game because of this review, if you've already played the game and you agree or disagree with some of my points. I'm kind of liking doing the concept of reviews, albeit whether it be through video games or movies. So let me know what you guys think if you guys do want to see more reviews. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Doesn't matter. I'm making a Code Vein review anyways.